Welcome to GODSpeed, where truth meets life in under 10 minutes. I'm AK, and this is hope for your journey.
Have you felt weighed down lately? Mentally, physically, or spiritually? Because I'm willing to admit that I have. And then I remembered this quote by Najwa Zabian that says, "The mountains you are carrying, you were only supposed to climb." And it's so easy for us to take things that were meant to be temporary challenges and turn them into permanent burdens we drag around with us. And that weight is exhausting. Today we're reading from the book of Hebrews. It was written to a group of people who were exhausted, persecuted, burnt out, and honestly, ready to quit. They were under tremendous pressure socially, while also holding the weight of unfulfilled hopes. This group was beginning to wonder if faith and the promise was even worth the struggle. In the chapter before this one, the author would recount and share stories of people who had come before them. The success stories, the examples of people who had run the race and finished well. And now with those examples fresh in their mind, the author turns to inspire the people themselves. Let's jump in there. This comes from Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up. And let us run with endurance the race God has set before us. Does life get easier or do you get stronger? That's the question I want you to hold in your mind as we look at 3 takeaways from today's message. First, the race doesn't change. There isn't a point where life stops being hard and challenges just disappear. The mountains don't get smaller, but you do grow, get stronger, and become more resilient. The weight we're faced with is the same, but how you carry it and what you choose to carry begins to shift. Think about when you started your first job. Everything felt overwhelming. Now tasks that used to take hours take minutes because the work didn't get easier, but you got better at it. When you first became a parent, every decision felt huge. And now you navigate similar challenges with less panic. The responsibility didn't get smaller, but you grew. And that's what endurance does. It builds us and our capacity. But you can't build that capacity if you're carrying things you were never meant to hold in the first place. The author says strip off every weight that slows us down. But that's not every challenge, not every responsibility. There's a difference. Some things are part of the race. The hard stretches, the uphill movements, the obstacles that are part of the natural territory. But other things, they're just extra weight we've picked up that are slowing us down. One particular one I want us to be aware of is the weight of comparison. I have a friend named Jessica who's running many of the world's major marathons. And just listening to her talk about running, I've learned something. The best runners don't compare themselves to others, they compare themselves to themselves. They talk about consistency in their training, taking care to have the right equipment, building towards PRs, which are personal records. They're not trying to beat everyone else. They're trying to beat their own best time. And that's what we're doing in life and in faith, growing to our new personal best. Because the truth is, our race isn't against other individuals or completing the exact same achievements and milestones as our role models or mentors. It's about you catching up to your own God-given potential. And if you spend your energy comparing yourself to someone else's pace, you lose sight of your own. You start running their race instead of yours, and that's exhausting, frustrating, and harmful. Comparison is one of the heaviest weights we carry. It slows us down because we're constantly looking sideways instead of forward. We start measuring our gifts against someone else who has different gifts, different circumstances, different starting points, and even different invisible challenges. And no matter how fast you run, comparison will always show you someone ahead of you. So run your race. Aim for your PR and not someone else's finish line. And sometimes the best thing we can add to our lives is subtraction. Because in our culture, we get obsessed with adding new things, more top 10 lists and strategies, content to consume. But what if you just took some things out of your day-to-day? What if you simply let go of what doesn't help? The distractions, the commitments that drain you, the need to please everyone, the pressure to be someone you're not. Overcommitment is a weight. It's saying yes to everything, making you run with a backpack full of obligations while having ankle weights of indifference. Trying to please everyone is a weight. You can't run well when you're constantly stopping to check in to see if people approve. Aiming to be who you're not is a weight, because pretending takes energy as you act out a character that you're not. The author urges us, strip off every weight. That's intentional. You have to choose what to let go of. And it'll actually feel very unsettling at first. People might not understand, but you're not running for their approval. You're running the race God has set before you. And finally, I want you to remember that you're surrounded by a huge crowd of witnesses. Not by critics, not by people keeping score, but by witnesses, people who have run this race, who have finished it, and given proof that it's possible. The last few years, I've attended the New York City Marathon, and I see it. It's a celebration. Runners from all over the world, people lining the streets, cheering for people they know and complete strangers. There are professional runners and first-timers, old people and young people, people in fancy sponsored athletic gears, others in wild costumes. The same streets, but a different race for every single person. And we the people cheer. Some of us who had run the race themselves before and know what it takes, others who are being inspired right there in the moment, all of them testifying to the same thing. This is possible. So listen to me, when you get weary, as we all do, you don't need to know exactly how you're going to make it through everything on your vision board or your to-do list or this impossible week ahead of you. You just need to focus on taking the next step well. One foot in front of the other, getting around the next corner. That's it. Just the next step. You're not the first person to feel exhausted. You're not the first person to wonder if it's worth it or if you can keep going. But you can, and you will. One step at a time, lighter than before, stronger than yesterday. You've got this. God, thank you that you've given me a race to run. Help me become stronger in the process. And Lord, I ask that you be with me at every step. Amen.
I will always love you how I do. Let go of a prayer for you. Just a sweet word